And we are lucky enough to be joined here with San Diego flanker Michael Smith. Mike, thanks so much for joining us today to talk a little bit about the MLR and fantasy rugby, man.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. We love to always get the chance to talk about MLR, to talk to MLR players and pick their brain about what they think about fantasy rugby. But before we get into that, we just want to get your thoughts on the season so far. I mean, San Diego's doing absolutely fantastic right now. You guys are absolutely rolling, coming off a big win against Utah. How you feel in the season so far, and how you feel things are going with your campaign in 2022?
Yeah, it's good. It's obviously a lot of fun to win, right? I mean, just speaking with you guys a little bit earlier, like to win a big game like that over there in Utah as well is just like huge for us. But we know the challenges really only start now, and we have ourselves in a really good spot to qualify for the playoffs, and that's really our goal. Our goal is to win the competition. But obviously, the year last year didn't quite go our way, so we're taking it game by game, and we got a big game against Austin this upcoming week, which will be probably the game of the weekend, I assume. And so we're quite up for it. But yeah, it's been a good first half to the year. Obviously, we like the situation we're in, but we know where we can be a lot better as well. Like obviously, those games against LA, Seattle, and the New York team are things that sort of stick out as points where we should have had those wins, and we don't want to let that happen anymore. So yeah, all in all, it's good, but still a lot of work to do. And so we're excited to keep it rolling. A lot of good competition in the league this year. Like over there in the East, they just seem to be rolling teams, and over there in the West, we got like 5 teams. They're all
it's
going
such a
to 3
tight
spots.
league,
So
like you said.
It'll come right down to the wire.
League. I mean, like everybody apart from maybe Dallas and DC are really like it's really a tight league. And by the way, what a clinical answer there, Mike. That is clinical right there. I love it. Love to hear it.
And I will say,
I go way back, so I got to give those answers good.
Media trading.
And let's talk about that matchup that you had against the Utah Warriors before we get into, I guess, the fantasy rugby side of things here, because that's what we're all here for. We're all about breaking down fantasy rugby and getting your thoughts on it, Mike. But let's talk about that performance this past weekend. And I will say, hey, man, you were damn close to getting a try, dude. Ben Grant breaks through, offloads it to you. You were going, and I swear, I thought you were going to make it, but Calvin Whitting making the try-saving tackle. It did end up working in the better for you guys. Bjorn Basson, Vandy's Bjorn Basson going through and finishing things off. Obviously, leave it to a back to finish off the dirty work for you guys. But man, I thought you were home free, man. Do you feel like you had maybe a little shot at a few points there running through?
Oh man, you're already in my head. It's I have been fighting to find that line all season, and I thought I would have got close. I think it was against DC as well. That was another game where we had a few like big open breaks. But yeah, still haven't found that try line. But we got some good guys on the team that know how to score, and that's ultimately how we're gonna win those games, right? So we all play to our strengths, and I've got mine and they've got theirs, and I'm just like I'm really happy with a win like that.
I mean,
but yeah, we are still trying to find that try line. So I will report back to you when that's happening.
Man, speaking of strengths, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're top 10 in the league in tackles, and I'm personally playing with you. I am not surprised at all because you're an absolute mutant. You'll basically hit a breakdown, get up, tackle a guy, hit another breakdown, then tackle the next guy. But watching you get so close to kind of getting free some of these games, and I'm like, oh, is Mikey going to score? Is Mikey going to score? And then, you either dish it off or you get stopped at the line like last game. But it's great to see you out there, Mike, and you're doing awesome.
Don't worry, Mike. I think after we go through your fantasy rankings, you might consider next time before offloading the ball, you might be, oh crap, you know what? Maybe to boost my rankings here, I need to hold on to this thing and maybe score one once in a while. But we'll get into that. Don't you worry. I know Vandy has a question about you about a player he's been itching to ask you about, one of his favorite in the league so far.
Man, I gotta ask you, how's Joe Peters? Because I swear to God, I put him right up there with the man. I put him right up there with God.
Joe is Mr. Reliable. That guy
my-
is just, he impresses me all the time as well, and he's a really good guy as well. He lives in the same apartment complex as us, and I see him all the time. We see him around. He's a really good friend, and yeah, he is like the most reliable player I've ever played with, and he just puts points away. You know, when Joe's on the tee, he's putting it down. He runs the ball back like he's an 8-man,
Oh yeah.
like just stepping through guys and blocking guys or whatever. It is impressive, and so it's great to have a guy like that on
I
the
wouldn't
team.
be anywhere without Joe Peterson. That guy has pulled me out of every single W. Every single one.
Yeah, he's been a big part of Vandy's little 2-game winning stretch here and keeping him in the playoff hunt. Joe Peterson. People were giving him a hard time when Vandy drafted him, talking about how he's old man Joe and him at, I think,
everyone's
what is
hit
it?
me with, he's 37 years old. I'm
Exactly.
like,
So,
come on, boys,
and he's sitting at number 2 in our fantasy rankings right now. So
There you go.
Put some respect on his name, boys.
Exactly. Age is just a number.
The age spreads that we've got here in the MLR, like we got 22-year-olds playing with 42-year-olds, right? And it's age, like as soon as you're on the that pitch, it does not, like, no one cares, right? And it's just how you can play. And if he can play like that, then he'll keep playing and he'll keep starting. He had a big part for 10.
I mean,
right? So,
he plays and puts his body on the line as if he's like 20 something. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. But man, on that point, Mike, like on your team alone, what you got? Joe Peterson, you got Ma Nanu, you got Chris Robshaw. I'm probably missing a bunch of big names that are like kind of vets. They've already had their careers and stuff. Like, what's it like? I mean, especially with Robshaw playing the position that you play. Like, what's it like training with those guys or like hanging out with those guys? Is it kind of surreal for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really surreal in the way of like just getting to be at the same spot that they're at in terms of the team and playing with them and being in that same environment, really. And they become sort of like just like a friend or a person, or you see them in the gym, you see what they do and they lift. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're just kind of guys. They're one of the boys. I know they all love to like get into the cards on a road trip, or they're all doing this and that, right? And so they're just like, it's nice to know that you can sort of like still like have that youth and that career that you have for as long as you do and still be a part of it. It's sweet, honestly. It's great. And then the sort of experience and the seriousness that they bring to the environment as well, being in a professional environment, is excellent. Just like when they talk, like, you know, everyone listens, right? Like they have something to say and they have that experience behind them. And so everyone will listen to them. And then they go out there on the pitch and they prove it, right? They prove that they can command that kind of respect. So, yeah, it's those are the guys that's like, it's a really cool league where you have the mix of the young, the North Americans and the South American players, right? The domestic guys, and then the overseas, like the vets. And that combination, like, is just like, you get so much out of it. And I love being a part of it.
Sweet.
And in translation, you got the guys that are like Joe Peterson, who come out to go for a Sunday run, go back, put up the feet, have a few beers, enjoy the San Diego weather, and then you guys got guys busting their balls trying to make a lineup and make a name for themselves in the rugby community. So
those guys are still working their asses off too. I know for Ma, just trying to get back into the squad. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. He's always in the gym. Like if we start at 8, he's in there at like, I want to say like 6:30. He's doing the work, right? It's like I have never not seen him in that gym doing something.
I just expect nothing less from.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
winner.
mean, you would expect a guy that's reached his pedigree, or any of these older guys that have reached the pedigree that they have, to have that work ethic like that. So that's not surprising at all. And Mike, before we hop into the fantasy rugby conversation, there's one more player that I want to ask you about who really, I think, popped for me in that Utah Warriors and Legion game. Man, what is it like? I mean, both of your back row players, what is it like training with Tavita Tamalau? Is he as big as he looks on the screen? Because I swear, I was watching that match, dude. He was trucking guys and just like a force out there. Is like, man, I just want to get your opinion on how he plays and what it's like playing with him.
Oh man, that's like, I'll say like he is one of like the most interesting guys that you'll sort of have around in terms of how he is on the field and then how he is off the field. Like on the field, like the guy's got an engine. He has the most carry meters on our team, runs it from the backfield, busts the line, throwing offload balls, scoring tries right at the base. He is a workhorse, right? And then off the pitch, man, that guy loves playing pickleball. And that guy likes to just like chill around and like he's wearing a hoodie wherever he goes. Like I don't think I've ever seen him not wearing a hoodie during like the team trainings. Like we're out there running our asses off and he's just there cozied up in his hoodie, and he always gives you like a big hug at the start of the day. And he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Smithers?" kind of thing. Like it's
crazy to like humanize these people
like in
this,
terms
you know
of
what I
having
mean?
him as a player. Yeah. And like that's all it is too. You got to humanize these guys, right? And so he is like someone that just brings it every game, right? And like for a guy like him, when we got like DP and like all these like back row guys that can go like full 80s, but then someone goes down with an injury, right? We had a few against the Jackals, right? He just like gets a tap on the shoulder. It's like, V, you're going in 80, and he'll put in that work, right? And I mean, he's got front row size, but he can just like he can go, and he's a really good player. I think he's an incredible asset to have on the team.
Yeah, he's got front row size. That's for sure, man. He proved that point in this.
He's got that space, man.
Yeah, there's no convincing me on that. No, for sure. All right, so let's hop into the fantasy rugby conversation, Mike. I don't know how much fantasy sports you play. Outside and other. I mean, it's huge in football, baseball, hockey. You name the major sport, there's a fantasy sport to go along with that people are die hard committed to, and that's kind of the goal that we've been trying to have here at the Fantasy Ruckers is, hey, let's try to establish, a fantasy element to the MLR with this growing league. I think it will only, and we think it will only help grow the league, become more popular. I mean, Vandy is a perfect example, man. He had never watched a full rugby game until before this season, and the very first rugby that he's digesting is the MLR. Fantasy rugby got him into it, and we're hoping that can be kind of the same story for a lot more fans that will help grow it. So we just want to get your opinion, man. How do you what's your opinion and what's your thoughts on hearing fantasy element being added to the MLR with what you know?
Quick disclaimer: the thing that really got me to rugby was watching the All Blacks do the haka. All right,
True.
But the
like many
game
people,
was awesome
Vandy.
itself.
Like many. But yeah, man, what's your overall thoughts on fantasy rugby, dude?
I'll just say as well, for good reason too, that haka when you're staring it down as well. Like
man, I can only
even playing against
imagine.
like high school teams, like some high school teams that tour from New Zealand, they'll do it, right? And so it's like it's a really cool thing to see. But as far as like doing the league goes and the fantasy stuff, like I just think it's immensely popular, and I think that's great for the game as well. And there's certainly like the people that love to get into that stuff. Like I know my older brother as well, he's big into like the NFL, the fantasy stuff, and like at the end of the year they had like a big party where they came in and they announced all the results and they gave out the whatever, and it's just like a way to bring the friends together like around things as well. And like when I was in high school, I was doing like hockey pools with all my friends because I was a big ice hockey kid. And so you pick all your guys at the start of the year and you go with that. Now I know it's like all on your phone and all online. Like I probably am like a little out of the loop now because I haven't been involved with it as much. I'm talking about filling out paper ballots when it's all on your phone. It's like that was really my last experience when I got into it.
No, honestly, that's pretty much what we're doing.
Except now it's on an Excel sheet.
But like certainly there is a pretty excellent fan base that follows that kind of stuff, and if it can bring more fans in, and even for people to just enjoy the league a bit more, right? I mean, like the thing I'll hear about is like playing on the Canada tours. Will be there overseas, and guys will just love to bet on like games and like the Olympics and stuff like that. And it's like it's so much more interesting to watch a game when you know there's something on it, right? Some like personal thing in there for it. Yeah, and so I buy into that hard. I think that's like sweet and like a really good reason like to get more people into the game for them to really enjoy it. So as long as people are having fun and enjoying it and like trying to give guys a hard time, like your guy there, Matt Yee. I'm all about it. So I think it's great.
That's exactly kind of why Ryan, came up with this idea, and why we're doing this is like there's people that love fantasy and love watching sports because of fantasy, or whether it's because of betting, either way. Like, to get more people to watch MLR because they're invested in a fantasy league, but people like Vandy who have never watched the game before, but now are watching it because they have, $30 in a fantasy league. It's the perfect way to kind of join those together and get new fans in. So
just wait till how involved I am when you can open up sports betting.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
When I can bet old Joe's gonna put in 5 off the boot.
Of course, that's what Vandy goes right to. But yeah, man, no, I completely.
I would bet. I'll put every dime I got on old Joe.
That's
man has never let me down. He's let me down less times than my father.
Dude, Vandy has had a relationship with old man Joe for about 2 months here, and he's already signing off. He's already put him in his will. He's already got him as his emergency contact. He's got all the trust in Joe now. Ice in his veins.
Got my firstborn too. If he wants him, I'm forcing him.
There we go.
But Mike, I couldn't agree more. I mean, man, what's interesting, and we talked about, humanizing these players. I think adding a fantasy sports element adds this kind of individual aspect to the game where, now I'm looking at, I'm watching out for Mike Smith to see, I have him on my team. Is he going to go score? I don't care what San Diego does, but is he the one holding onto the ball when, you guys are mauling it over for a try? Or is he the one that's breaking that line and dishing it off? I think it adds a pretty cool element. And like you said, it makes you have skin in the game, which always makes it a little bit more entertaining as well. So it's cool to hear that we're getting a lot of positive support here from the players in the league, which is good to hear. Not so sure though if that positivity is going to remain after we reveal these fantasy rankings though, Mike. So are you ready for it? I will preface by saying this: in the way our league is set up, backs get most of the glory, as they always do. And
backs,
kickers.
Yeah, you know what? It's like, what's the old adage? The forwards decide who wins the game, and the backs say by how much. So
that's a good say. There we go.
Well, I'm also playing with Mike and being able to firsthand know the style of play that Mike plays. The way that we point things in our league does not give Mike the greatest opportunity to get points. I mean, if we had tackles in this league, Mike would be one of the top guys to pick up in our league, because I know for a fact that Mike is making a ridiculous amount of tackles a game. So that's what I'll preface that.
Well, I can tell you for sure he's 4th in the league with 124 tackles. So.
Yeah, no, actually, I was just gonna look for that stat. You pull up that stat there on thing. You got me. There we go. Dude, that's impressive, man. 4th in the league, Mike. 4th in the league. That's crazy, man.
I'll put it this way: he's second if you don't count the New England Jacks players.
I've always like those, like the totals of the tackles and stuff. I always think is exceptionally awesome, and it sort of rewards the players that sort of like have those like parts about their game that they don't get like a lot for. I mean, like there are probably like a lot more guys that are like over the ball like a lot better as well, right? And so so like I think it's sweet. I do think one of the things I like to see is that it's like how much it is like per games played and things like that, because I know some guys got way more like,
because it'll boost your rankings, Mike. You'd be number one if there was.
I'm just saying Josh Larson up there, captain of the Free Jacks. I don't think that guy's come off yet, so I might need to have a word with them after this. So
there we go. Yeah, no, you are sitting just behind Joe Johnson, Slade McDowell, Josh Larson. You're sitting on the season right now, Mike, with 124 tackles. That's incredible, man. So yeah, if we had that in our fantasy league, which we are hoping we can eventually get into our league at some point, which would be really cool. We'll definitely see that your name will shoot up the rankings. But until then, they're not in here. Yeah. So we'll reveal here where you're sitting at. And and we'll have a little fun with it, and we'll see whether or not this motivates you, like I said, to hold on the ball a little bit more instead of dishing it off when you get close to that try line. But you are sitting right here, Mike. If I could get a small drum roll here, guys. You are sitting here, Mike, at 180th. Which is not bad.
To be honest, that is higher than I thought it was, because I think I might have 0 points in my whole career in the MLR. So I don't know if I'm a good bet.
Boy, you don't have 0 points in the Fantasy Ruckers Fantasy Rugby League. You're sitting at, let me just pull it up here, a total of 6.5 total fantasy points. There we go. Just to put that into perspective, your teammate Joe Peterson has 59.2 on the season. So got a little bit of work to do here, Mike, but you're getting there.
That's for sure.
That's why I put him right up next to God.
I'll have to tell Joe to allow. I got to start to kick the goals now. I'll just say, hey, Joe.
Don't do that to me, bro. Hey, don't do that to me, man.
Yeah, that becomes at a detriment at Vandy, because then you're taking away his kicker. If you are going to do that, I would say, Mike, make sure you let us know so we can tell Vandy, so then he can pick you up and set you as his kicker if you do that. So make sure you let us know with that.
Oh yeah, but that's like the insider trading or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
man.
That's like that insider info. I don't know.
I feel like Adam Schefter getting messages from the players.
I will say though, Mike, that you are 13th ranked on your team. So you're the 13th ranked fantasy player on the San Diego Legion. You're sitting just behind Ryan Mattias and just ahead of Will Hooley. So you're sitting in that range. Will Hooley has 6 points on the season. Ryan Mattias has 12. So you got a little bit of playing room here to make some moves up the ranking.
Hooley's a good friend. So yeah, he's I'll have to let him know about that one. So
and we'll make sure to keep you posted. So if you guys want a little fantasy points race here, we can definitely set that up for you guys if you want to wager a little bit on that. But man, you're making appearances, dude. You're having a lot of fun. I think the only difference here, like we said, when it comes to fantasy performances, which is not surprising because our league is heavily reliant on tries, is that you just haven't passed that try line yet. So we'll be waiting and cheering you on and waiting for that moment to come, man, because I'm sure when that does happen, your name is going to be in our waiver wires and someone's going to be picking you up, man. I bet you I have a feeling it's going to be that guy there on that top left corner, Matt Yee, being there first to pick you up though, dude. So nah, man, it's been a lot of fun to watch you play, dude, and we'll see if you can score here in the next few weeks and help someone out.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. Yeah, I'll be certainly trying to find that the try line there, but those wins they come first, right? And so as long as we keep winning those games, I'll enjoy the glory at the end of the year. So
hey, there you go.
Look at
fair
that.
Enough. That's the
work from Mike Smith.
That's the diplomatic answer that we were waiting for. We're 2 for 2.
This is very diplomatic
media training.
Andrew Coe is diplomatic with his answers on the interviews, and there we go. We brought out Mike Smith, and we got it out of him too. But yeah, man,
I would love to score a try.
You know.
Hey, before
we are pulling for you, man. We are going to be out of our seats when that happens, and we'll be there to congratulate you along the way. But man, sitting at a 5-3 record with the San Diego Legion, got a big matchup this week in round 10 against the AG Austin Gilgronis. That will be a really fun one. Like you said, we think it's we agree with you. We think it's the matchup of the week, fighting for that top spot in the Western Conference. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Good luck with that one. Good luck with the rest of the season, dude, and we'll love to have you on whenever you got a free moment to speak with us. We had a blast.
Right on. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I love all this and like getting the community together as well, and bringing in a lot more of the fans as well. So yeah, let's keep on that, and I'll have to chat with you guys again soon after I've scored that one. So
exactly. We'll check. That's the deal. That's the deal we have here, Mike. You only are allowed to come back on the show once you come back with the try, man. All right.
Unless you make a massive tackle, then you're right back on too.
There we go. So two things.
Right.
You can either pass Joe Johnson, Slade McDowell, and Josh Larson on the tackles list, or you score a try. You let us know which one you're up for, and we'll keep an eye out for that.
We'll be watching.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man. And we'll see you soon. Good luck, man.
Mike.
It's been a slice, man. Thanks.
Thank you very guys.